Hey guys, Yankee here, and today I'm going to be doing a bit of a different video. Um, Recently, Marvel and DC have both been trying to branch out into manga more. Um, Marvel had success recently with the Deadpool manga that I think just ended not long ago, and they also announced their partnership with Viz. Even though that partnership sounds more like it's going to be for Viz's OEL or Amerimanga like thing they're trying to create right now. Um, and then we got DC over here, who has been getting pretty cozy up with Kodansha, and they've currently got 3 ongoing manga in a couple of Kodansha magazines. So Marvel and DC are both, I think they see how successful manga is both in Japan and over here, and they're trying to get in on that. Um, and so this video is going to be me just talking about characters that I think uh, would be good characters to get their own manga, right? These don't have to be very long. I don't need like a 10-volume series. A lot of these end up being just like a couple volumes. Like I think the Deadpool manga that was out recently was only 2 volumes. Um, but yeah, like Marvel and DC are trying to get into this more, and they've always had like they've always dipped their toe in it, right? Like Batman has had a ton of manga starting back in the 60s. Spider-Man's had a few starting in the 70s. We have things like Spawn, which had a manga, and Witchblade had an anime, and then a manga based on that anime. So American comic characters getting a manga isn't new. And so these are just a few of like my ideas that I think could make for a fun little manga. And for a few of them, I've got artists that I think might work good with them, and I'll sort of explain. But also, this list is going to be mainly Marvel and DC. Like, again, Spawn, Witchblade, like other things have gotten manga. But when it comes to comics, like I'm not very deep into it, right? I'm a very casual comic guy, so I mainly read DC and Marvel stuff. I do have one sort of other property, and I'll start with that. So my first one that's not Marvel or DC is Ninja Turtles. And sort of when I was getting ready to make this video, I saw that there actually already is a Ninja Turtles manga. It's like a 3-chapter thing that was made to advertise some toys, I think is what it said on my anime list. But yeah, I don't really have much to add to the Ninja Turtle bit here. I like the Ninja Turtles ever since I was a kid. That movie was great. I used to rent the old 80s cartoon on VHS. And then the 2000s cartoon I really loved too. And then I've sort of touched the comics a little bit, but I haven't gotten very deep into it. I had the first few IDW trades right as I was sort of falling off comics again, and I stopped getting those because they're just really expensive. They were like $16 for a 4-issue trade. But yeah, I really like the Ninja Turtles, and I would like to see them get maybe a bit of a longer manga, right? Again, it doesn't need to be 10 volumes, but, more than 3 chapters. So next, we're going to do DC. I got two things here that I'm going to put up, or I'm going to suggest 2 ideas I have. The first one, if you've been watching my channel, if you've been subscribed for a while, this probably isn't too much of a surprise. I'm gonna go with Power Girl. Last year sometime I read the Power Girl Power Trip trade, and I had a lot of fun with it. I think that take on the character is just a lot of fun, and you can get a lot of mileage out of it. I also, I think this was earlier this year, I bought the Harley Quinn Power Girl comic, which I didn't care for as much. But I think she would be a good character to get, just put over, let her get a manga. It would probably be short. I mean, she's a big-breasted blonde in a skimpy outfit, right? The Japanese will love that, right? It'll be a little ecchi manga. It'll be great. And the artist I've sort of got an idea for this, which, again, these are just sort of artists I'm throwing out. Like, if this happened and it was a different artist, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. And, of course, most of these won't happen anyway. But butcha-u, most people probably know him for his hentai, but if you look at his Pixiv, he has a bunch of Power Girl drawings he's done. And he also recently had an actual serialized manga that wasn't porn. It was like an adaptation of some isekai novel. So I think he would be a good choice. He likes the character. Let him draw the character, do a little Power Girl manga, and it would be fun. The next up, and my last DC idea here, is Teen Titans. I grew up with the 2000s Teen Titans cartoon, which was obviously pretty heavily inspired by anime and stuff like that. So I think this would be just a really good fit. Now, I don't know how popular that was over in Japan. I know it got dubbed. But I think a lot of people over here in the West, that show was sort of their introduction to Teen Titans and their sort of their favorite take on it. So doing a manga with sort of that cast might be appealing to people like that. And now for an artist for this one, I've got Rickon, who has worked with DC before. He used to do, like, I don't know, like 8 or 9 years ago, he was doing covers for some DC comics, including the Teen Titans, though obviously not the same team. And he, or she, excuse me, like, they've done manga before. They did like a boys love manga, so it's a little bit a little bit different, but they've done manga before. They've worked on the characters before. I think they'd be a good fit. So next up is Marvel, and I've got sort of three characters here. The first one, this is a character I really enjoy, who has just been pretty, like, mistreated in my opinion, and that is Gwenpool. Unbelievable Gwenpool is a lot of fun. I really enjoy that comic. I was reading it digitally back when it was coming out, sort of fell off, and recently went back and read through the whole thing and really enjoyed it. And I'm sort of kicking myself for waiting this long to pick it back up, because now the trades are, like, 2 of them are out of print and really expensive, so I have to cross my fingers and hope Marvel reprints them. But also, after Unbelievable, I've been, like, I read Unbelievable and I've been looking at some of her other appearances, and they're just not good. It feels like most of the people that have touched this character since didn't read that and don't really get what I found appealing about Gwenpool. Like, Gwenpool Strikes Back, I didn't really care for until, like, the very end. It became okay. But, like, there was a 5-issue miniseries, and 3.5 of those 5 issues were just unreadable. What was she also in? West Coast Avengers, I think. I didn't care for her there. The writer really didn't take advantage of, like, the power set she has, and sort of, like, threw it away. I think I remember it saying something like, oh, she can only use those in her own book. She can't use her powers really in a team book like this, which was dumb and lazy and just nobody knows what to do with this character. And now she's basically just background cameos in X-Men books. So, creator I would like on this is Bowie Knife. He does a bunch of Gwenpool fan art. He had a 1-volume manga a few years ago. So there's somebody that likes Gwenpool. Let them try their, like, let them have a chance at doing a Gwenpool thing, because everybody at Marvel right now doesn't know what to do with her, and she's just sort of sitting there. And she's a character I really like, so I'd like her to get something good, but yeah. Next character. Unlike the last few ideas I've had, this is a character that I don't really have much of a connection with. It's just, this one is more that the creator I'm going to bring up likes the character, and so I'd like to see them get a chance at it. And that is She-Hulk, and the creator is Chiba Toshiro. Again, another hentai artist. Hentai artists seem to really enjoy American comics, it turns out. But anyway, he's done a bunch of She-Hulk fan art. And even, like, a few years ago, Marvel was doing, like, a variant, like, a line of variants, where every book would have a variant by a Japanese artist, and Chiba Toshiro got to do one for A-Force, where he drew She-Hulk. So, again, I don't really know much about She-Hulk, but I think letting him just do a She-Hulk book could be good. Finally, I have no creator for this one. I don't know who I would want on it. I don't know what. This is just a character I like. And again, it's another character that just sort of, like, I don't think they've appeared in anything except for an episode of a Marvel anime. And that character is Kid Kaiju from Monsters Unleashed, which was a not so great event, and they shouldn't have reused that title for the ongoing. I think was the biggest problem that character had. But for people that don't know, Kid Kaiju is an Inhuman whose power is that he can draw monsters, and if the monster exists, it sort of like appears to him. So if he draws a monster like what is the green dragon with underwear? Fin Fang Foom, I think is his name. So if he draws Fin Fang Foom appears. Uh, and then if he draws like his own monster, well then it sort of appears too. And during that ongoing series, we were sort of left with the question of, did he actually create them, or did he just summon them from like a different dimension? So we got Kid Kaiju. He's a 12-year-old Japanese kid who has basically 5 giant monsters, and he basically runs a team. Like he's got a robot girl, he's got like a big bug, and they're just really cool. And he also has the power to like combine them into like a Megazord and fight. And I think it would be really cool. Like I just want to see more of him in general. In particular, I really want them to bring back his relationship with Elsa Bloodstone, which is a character that I'm not really familiar with outside of this. And I think they appeared in Ultimate Alliance 3. But she is like a monster hunter, and she was like his mentor almost. And I really liked the relationship they had in that. And as soon as the new writer sort of took over the book, he immediately wrote her out. So, yeah, Kid Kaiju with Elsa going on adventures with big monsters, right? And it would be a lot of fun. And I think it would be, like, it's obviously heavily inspired by Japanese stuff. It would make a great manga. So, those are a few of my ideas. If you've got any ideas, put them in the comments, I guess. Most people didn't make it this far in the video anyway, but if you did, put down a character you'd like to see maybe get a manga at some point. Yeah, that's going to do it. I'll see you guys next time.